नमस्कार, मास्क उतारो जी में आप सबका स्वागत है. We have with us Imtiaz, Mahmood and Adit Kothari. Imtiaz is an atheist and he's an ex-Muslim. Whereas Adit, he's going to be my co-host today. He's a free thinker and he advocates for full 100% of freedom of speech. So the questions we are going to put up are designed to be intellectually honest, not inflammatory. And please, and whatever views Imtiaz has, they are his own views. This is a disclaimer I'm putting. Okay, so Imtiaz, we're going to divide the questions into different headings and subheadings. So I'm going to ask you first is will be related to faith and its interpretation. So you give me answers
Right.
regarding that. Then I'll give you ask you a question on gender and then democracy in Islam and like that we are going to do. So my first
Okay.
question to you is that is Islam compatible with modern secular democracy?
Islam is not compatible with any form of democracy, uh, secular or otherwise. Either there is Islam or democracy. These two things can't run together.
Okay. And can the Quran be interpreted in a liberal or a progressive way, or is that a distortion of the faith?
Islam clearly says kill the non-Muslims, Hindus, Jews, etc., wherever you find them. So there is no polite way of putting it. Quran cannot be reformed. No.
Okay.
Can
Adit, I'll ask these four questions, then you sum up and then you
Sure.
questions. Are hadiths equally authoritative as Quran, or do they leave some room for reform?
Hadith can be reformed by totally eliminating them, like Prince Mohammed bin Salman a few months ago. He stated that out of thousands of hadith, only 105 can be taken by us. So this reformation has started by MBS in Middle East, the seat of Islam, and now you can see they're dancing, and soon drinks will be uh, allowed, pubs will start, they have gone into sports. This is the reformation coming in Islam, total rejection of hadith.
Okay. And does Islam encourage questioning and reinterpretation, or is that seen as hearsay?
No, he has completely rejected the hadith. There is more problem things in hadith than in Quran.
Adit, your questions to him
Okay.
regarding
So
this topic only.
yeah. So you mentioned that Islam theologically is completely incompatible with Western society and democratic societies. But when we see the other Abrahamic religions, when we see Judaism, when we see Christianity, and there are various forms of Christianity, classical, modern, contemporary, they are all ultimately, book of the people or people of the book, as you may say it. They're all codified, theology as well. But they have been able to evolve with changing times. They have been able to evolve to extent where they are compatible with other societies and other cultures. Why do you think, or rather, what limits Islam from being compatible from other cultures and other societies in the world? Whereas Christianity and Judaism are compatible. There are Christians and Jews living in India. There are Christians and Jews living together, etc. But why is it so difficult for anybody coming from an Islamic faith to sort of be compatible with the other people?
Islam is the newest of the major religion, Hinduism being the oldest. And at present, the Jews are majority atheist. A Jew is a person who is born of a Jewish mother, irrespective of the father, whether he's Jew, Hindu, or atheist. A Jew father has a if a Jew father has a non-Jewish wife, then that child is not Jewish. So it has become basically a race. It is not a religion anymore. And they have reformed uh, more than even Christianity. You have the best secular democracy in the world, which is Israel. Uh, Out of 9 million Jew Israelis, 2 million are Muslim Arabs. And you don't hear much about them that they have done some exploitation or not. They have completely absorbed them. And Christianity, a lot of blood was uh, spilled when it reformed, and now it is a very mild religion. Intensity of religiosity has gone out among uh, Christians. So, in all of our history, human history, the Judo Christianity has brought up the best civilization so far, which you see in West and in America, everywhere in the world. That is the most successful civilization so far.
Okay, Adit, you were in an interview, what a kind of a thing, regarding that the couple who was killed yesterday in America. So, can you discuss a little bit of that with Imtiaz?
Yeah, so we've seen that the red lines have now been breached. I mean, Imtiaz, you're in the UK, I live in London as well. We've seen that there has been a lot of attacks on Jewish establishments, buildings, their shops, people, women sitting in cafes. Why do you think the polity and the policy makers do not want to attend to this particular issue? Why are they, treading so politically correct to have some, lines drawn up against people who are acting in a ferocious way? So what I'm trying to get to is that there is almost like a two-tier system that exists when it comes to anti-Semitism in the West and when it comes to anything opposite of that. So anybody who's indulging in anti-Semitism seems to get away scot-free. Whereas on the other side, if anybody protests, or if a Jewish protest is going on, and if they were to say anything about the Islamists, then they're automatically, the law comes down very heavily on them. So why is there this two-tier system?
Because Muslims are very large in number in West. For example, in UK, they are 6.5%, and the Jews in UK are, let's say, 0.1%, or I don't know the exact number. And in UK, there is democracy, so their votes count. And left and Islamists have combined to destroy the Western civilization.
So do you reckon the Muslims in the West have been able to appropriatize electoral politics far better than any other community because they sort of vote as a consolidated vote bank as opposed to the others who would vote as per their personal interests, say to say? I mean, typically the Indians are divided in the UK. So, say, for example, people who work within the government service industry will always automatically vote for the Labour, but people who work within the financial industry would somehow vote either for the Reform or the Conservatives. Do you think is that what the case is?
Yes, Muslims play a very big card, the victim card, and they have always gained from that. They have a sort of blasphemy system employed in the UK in the form of Islamophobia. There is no Hindu phobia, Christian phobia, or any other phobia. Uh, so they make small gains one at a time, and that burqa cannot be banned, cousin marriage cannot be banned, halal cannot be banned, and they created 1800 to 2000 mosques, and mosque police cannot go in. So even police in North wear burqas So they consolidate their small victories and they keep on winning.
Okay. So now we come to gender and rights. We're going to discuss that now. Is there a gender equality in? Is it truly possible within the traditional framework of Islamic laws, or what is it? Can it? Is it possible? Gender equality.
It's not possible within Islam. You see, the intensity of Islam is higher in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Iran. And if we see the gender gap index 2024, Iran is at 144th ranking, Pakistan 145 ranking, and Afghanistan 146 ranking out of 146 countries. So they are at the lowest ladder of women rights.
True. Okay. Now this hijab, does it empower or does it oppress women? Or is that a wrong question to ask? But
No, it
according
is
to
a
Muslim,
perfect question.
it empowers them.
Actually, Muslims cannot deal with an independent woman. Uh, she has to be subdued before coming into marriage. And Muslim families, they bring up their daughters to be good slaves. And first of all, they don't allow them to work, most of them, majority of them. So she does not have a financial independence. She's dependent on the man. And by putting a burqa or a portable tent on her, they have isolated her movement. She has no identity. Once I made a post that outside they cannot recognize which woman belongs to which man. They are totally without any identity, and they should put like car numbers on it. XB327 means belonging to this or belonging to the other man.
Okay. Now we've seen that there's a general resistance to let women lead prayers or becoming religious scholars in many Muslim communities. Why? Is it true?
That is true. There is no Muslim imam at all. And even when Benazir Bhutto was in power, all the mullahs gave fatwa that a woman cannot be head of the state. Woman is deficient in intelligence and wisdom, according to Islam. And Muhammad clearly said that the majority of when he went on this Burak, he saw the hell, and majority there were women. Also in Islam, woman has half the witness. Means one man's witness is equal to two women's witness, because she has less brain according to Islam.
But many times we've seen that Muslim men generally react in a very aggressive manner to kafir women who are independent or who raise their voice. And why do they do that? Because it's been inculcated in them that.
Yes, when Islam was formed, Islam was not formed by Muhammad. Muhammad never existed in history. Quran was written. Actually, all these earlier caliphs, Ali, Umar, Abu Bakr, Muawiyah, Yazid, they were all anti-Trinitarian Christians. One sect of Christianity. As Christians, they conquered the land. And then at the time of Abbasid Caliph, Abdul Malik, they changed from Christianity to form a new religion, which was Islam. They all took the title. Muhammad was a title. Muhammad was not a name of a person. Muhammad meant the praised one. It was a title for Isa or Jesus. So first they wrote Quran, and it was done under the guidance of Hajjaj bin Yusuf. Hajjaj bin Yusuf was his prime minister, the person who sent Muhammad bin Qasim to conquer India. So they are the people who formed Islam. Now this to form a constitution to run the empire by Sharia. So Sharia required Quran, so it was duly written. The whole system requires a superhero, a central hero. So the hero was duly created. Now, the caliphs or the kings or the warlords, they wanted to have harems. So to have harems, they gave this mythical character, Muhammad, a lot of women from age 6 years to 40 years or whatever, and a lot of sex slaves. So that established the right of caliph to have harems. And till 1962, we had harems. All Mughal kings had harems. There were a few hundred women in this Mughal when they were ruling. They had few hundred women. So this now in this present century looks awkward, but in those centuries they have been beneficial of creating such a mythical character who was given sexual strength of 30 men. You see, Allah did not give Muhammad 30 times more brains or more wisdom. He gave him sexual power of 30 men.
Okay. Now we come. Sorry,
I just wanted to add in one question here. So, despite everything that you've spoken about, the rights for women within Islam, within the theocracy, etc., why do you think there are those women and a lot of Muslim women today still advocate for Islam? It's almost like looking at it from a perspective that the chicken is advocating for KFC. So why do you think that happens, where women who are oppressed, who are made to feel in a certain way, who are made to feel that they have half a brain, who are made to feel that they do not have equal rights, they still advocate for something like Islam? What is the reason behind that?
You see, women, and they have Muslim women, they have no other alternate. So they have to live under that slavery or an own property status. So they cannot say we don't like it. They will be divorced or socially they'll have a social boycott. When a person is kidnapped for a long time and he comes out of kidnapping, he still has good wishes, or he sort of falls in love with that. It's called a certain syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome. So it is like a chicken advertising for KFC, a Muslim woman, against themselves. So that is the reason. They think a caged bird thinks that flying is an illness. So that becomes their condition.
Paji, you're on mute.
Oops, sorry. No, now this very important question I have, that can Islam coexist with LGBTQ and their rights without compromising on their core beliefs?
No, Islam cannot coexist with Hindus They cannot they cannot coexist with Hindus peacefully. They cannot coexist with Jews peacefully. They cannot exist with Christians peacefully. They cannot exist peacefully with LGBT people. They cannot coexist with independent women. They cannot coexist with uh, freedom of speech. They cannot even coexist peacefully among themselves. There are um, so many different sects, and according to each sect, the other sects are not proper Muslims or they are kafirs. So they cannot exist with anybody. And then they have the audacity to claim Islamophobia.
Yeah, true. The thing is, all this LGBTQ people, the whole cabal, is really fighting for the rights of the Palestinians. So isn't it strange? Don't they know what Islam thinks about them, what Muslim thinks about them?
They very well know. But in Europe also, or in the West, LGBT community, the gay community was looked down upon, and they fought for a very long time, a century, to get their rights. So they think Palestinians are also downtrodden like them, and they should also get the rights like two states or independent state or whatever. So they equate them to struggle.
So there's no homosexual, there are no gays and lesbians in Muslims. We hear
There is
stories of Pakistan.
there are 8% gays among Muslims also, like the rest of humanity. It is a natural thing. It is in your DNA. You are born like that. You cannot undo it. So they live a closet life, and if it comes out, then he loses the person loses social status, job, or everything. So they keep themselves in closet, same like ex-Muslim. 3 to 5% population of Pakistan is ex-Muslims, but very few admit to being ex-Muslims unless they shift to another country.
And Imtiaz, another thing, like we hear about, you know what Bacha Bazi is that I've been hearing about, reading about in
Yes.
Pakistan. So what is that? So then they're forgiven, or that only rich can do it, or what is it? Then what is Bacha
No,
Bazi?
it's not rich. Most of the truck drivers who travel 1,000 miles every day or every week, so they keep a cleaner boy, a helper. That helper is the lover, but that is different from gay community. Gay, gay is, being gay is uh, sex between two consenting adults. In Bacha Bazi, that child is underage, and because of financial conditions, the parent yatim, orphan children, or the street children, uh, they are picked up or kidnapped and act like a uh, prostitute. Uh, so that is the survival of homeless uh, children, and it is and because women are not available openly, uh, and women cost more money than boys in Islamic society, so that is cheaper and not really looked down upon. Uh, like in Pathans, if you want to marry, you have to pay a certain price for the bride, which is opposite to dowry system. Uh, so they'll never be able to afford a wife, afford to buy a wife. So they go for young boys, which are much cheaper or and easier to maintain.
So no Muslim ever goes to UN and to the Human Rights Commission to fight for these boys, for these orphan boys who are being ill-treated and who've been taking advantage, are getting molested and raped?
No, they themselves will never go. It is it has to come from outside, uh,
So
like
nobody is
United
representing
Nations.
them. So nobody is representing.
Only no, only Human Rights Commission, International Human Rights Commission, that speaks about them and makes some informative videos about them. It can only be stopped by sanctions. As you see, most of the countries don't have child labor anymore because of the sanctions. Companies won't buy from those companies which employ child labor. So this sort of movement is required to stop Bacha Bazi. But Muslims, you see, West doesn't go all out against Islam. First, there was the main enemy was communism. So your and communism is atheism. They have no religion. So West was fighting that, and in that fight, Muslims were their partners. Pakistan was basically created out of India, a portion of India, to keep a buffer state between additional buffer state between India and Russia. So the communists should not take over India. And that policy paid when Russia conquered Afghanistan. Pakistan, America helped Pakistan to beat them there. All American arms were used, and Pakistani Mujahideen or armed forces were used, and the cause of the project of creation of Pakistan succeeded, and communism was eventually beaten when USSR was dismantled and only Russia is left. Now Pakistan has no purpose. So Pakistan does not receive Western aid. So they have made a new father, which is China.
Is apostasy or like leaving Islam a punishable offense, or it's just written in Sharia but not in Quran, separately in Quran? Or it's, these Maulvis have written their own Sharia laws and this thing.
Yes, it's not exactly in Quran, but it comes with hadith and all these things. And in 13 Muslim countries have this blasphemy law punishable by death or life sentence. Other Muslim countries do not have that law.
Okay. And why some Western Muslim countries have a different Islam compared to Middle East and everything?
These are all religions have different sects. Christianity has thousands of sects. Okay, 50% are Catholic Christians, but 50% are other branches of sects of Christianity. Similarly, Islam has two major, Shia and Sunni, and there are dozens of other sects. So these have different variations.
So let me ask the question in a different way. Let me ask the question in a different way. I think what Payalji was trying to get to is, there are some moderate Muslim countries in the world, like say Kazakhstan is one of them, where wearing a burqa is completely frowned upon at a policy level, at a governmental level. So they discourage people from wearing a burqa or a hijab, but they're yet Muslims at the end of the day. They're culturally Muslims. The other Middle Eastern countries are also now reforming, like you mentioned, quite rapidly. But then there is the problem of South Asia, the places like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, where I think we are now devolving as a society, where the Muslims are devolving as a society because they are becoming far too much influenced by the Wahhabi school of thought, and which is why you are seeing various sort of orthodox Islam coming into place within civil society. So why do you think that is the case, and how can we alleviate How can we help alleviate that situation and make the Muslims more moderate like Kazakhstan?
It will come with prosperity. Arab countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, they have become rich not by working, but because there was oil under their land. Uh, Poor people need religion. Rich people don't need religion. So when prosperity comes, religion leaves. So in Middle East, prosperity has come, and they are as good as uh, UK or America or all these Western countries in per capita income, and they are looking at the future when oil will finish. So they decided to reform and bring in Western civilization at a gradual, slow pace because sudden changes have a lot of
Ramifications.
ill side effects.
Mm.
So they are preparing their countries for future. Now, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Iran, Afghanistan, they are poor Muslims, and poor Muslims need more religion. Uh, that okay, not they are poor, but after death, uh, the rich people will go to hell, and we will be in Jannat heaven. Uh, you see, why poor people hate rich people? By hating them, they bring them, cut them down to size equal to them to compare. So that is why religion is the only thing which gives poor people
Some
some
amount of
help. Yeah, that they are equal to them. By
some
making them,
validation, some security. But you know,
yes,
you almost sounded like a communist when you said that, because you know religion is the opium for the masses. I think that is where you were basically going with that with that
correct,
particular argument. Sorry, Payalji,
correct.
please.
And religion is very uh, successful form for rulers to rule over the masses uh, without giving them anything in this life except promises in a
Of the
future
next.
life. Yeah,
That's
Yeah, but
brilliant.
another thing is like look at Qatar. Qatar is sponsoring terrorism. Hamas, all the Hamas terrorists are in Qatar. Then why isn't Qatar a prosperous and a advanced country these days?
Qatar is like Switzerland of the Second World War, a neutral country. You see, there are American bases there. They are not doing anything outside American wishes. That is a common ground to bring the opposite parties. You see, Hamas representatives are there. Israeli representatives are there. They talk there about freeing the hostages and all. And they have good relations with Shias and good relations with Sunnis, good relations with the West. They have their own TV station, famous in the world, Al Jazeera.
Yeah.
So that is like a neutral ground for opposite sides to meet there.
And Imtiaz, who's funding these Muslims, poor Muslims, downtrodden Muslims, to enter Europe and to enter whether it's India, Europe, anywhere? Like who's funding them?
And these were globalist uh, Soros and other these big organizations. Uh, they are actually communist at heart. Communism lost the battle uh, with the West, so they are weakening these countries under the flag of the leftist from within the countries, and they have combined with Muslims to destroy the Western civilization.
So,
So,
over to you, Adit.
so, just an extension to that, Imtiaz. Now, because you are exposed to both life in Pakistan and life in the UK, so you must have seen, say, for example, in the 60s and 70s, there were lots of Pakistanis from Mirpur who had moved to places like Bradford, Luton, etc. And they had predominantly moved with a lot of anti-Pakistan kind of a sentiment, predominantly because of the way the state of Pakistan came down on them to build the Mangla Dam, etc. Vacated their properties and moved them out. But a lot of these people who actually moved there were not very uh, culturally also they were not Muslims. Like they wouldn't wear the hijab, they wouldn't wear the burqa, they wouldn't do five namazes a day, etc., etc. But the next generation, which came into existence, are probably much more hardliner Pakistanis, and they're much more hardliner from an Islamist perspective. So they are far more fundamentalist in their approach to life. When it comes to their jobs, when it comes to their daily lives. Why do you think that is the case? Where the West is now getting a lot of new generation of very hardline fundamentalist Islamists within their population.
You see, these people came from Mirpur. Pakistan has very little education. Per capita, average per capita schooling at present is 4.4 years, which in India and Bangladesh is 7 years, almost double. And Mirpur, out of Pakistan, was poorer educated than average, let's say 2 years schooling per capita. So when they came here and became well off comparatively, so they needed a separate identity to make them happy. So they took Islam was the only identity available to them.
Another thing, don't you think Islam overall, like Islamic history, it's been over romanticized in this modern discourse?
No, they don't romanticize the modern discourse. They are the old.
Islam, basically Islamic history is being romanticized to
Yes,
us,
because
to the modern world.
yeah. In the modern world, Muslims, 1.8 billion Muslims, if you take average, they are at the bottom ladder of progress. So they don't have a bright future to look forward to. So they look back and rulers, nostalgia. Pitram Sultan, my father was the king. So that mentality is there because they have nothing at present and no bright future. So they look at the past to keep them happy.
Over to you, Adit.
So now I'm going to ask you a very contentious question. How do you see the modern day Hindutva? Do you see parallels between what is happening in India in the form of Hindutva and what is happening, or rather, what has already happened in the Middle East and countries like Pakistan with the Islamist movements? Do you draw parallels in that, or do you see them as two separate sort of ideas where Hindutva is essentially the essence of being a Hindu, rather than Islam being more of a theocratic regime, a totalitarian regime? So how do you view that particular aspect, Imtiaz?
Imtiaz, be careful.
Hindus,
Think before you say anything.
Hinduism is a very mild religion. And they have 33 different types of gods. So they can accommodate one god, one more god, or two more gods without any problem. So Hindus never, because Muslims have just one god. So if other gods are there, then they are denying the only god. Hindus don't have that monotheism problem. They never went out to enforce their 33 gods on other countries or population. They stayed within the country. You see, most 50% of present day Hindus, Muslims, are ex-Hindus. If you take the population of Indonesia, Malaysia, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, and add that to uh, Indian Muslim population,
Yes.
it comes to 0.9 billion, which is exactly 50% of the uh, present 1.8 billion population of Muslims.
No, the reason why I asked you this specific question is because I've met a lot of Pakistani atheists, and I've noticed that, although they would speak against the concept of the totalitarian regime of Islam, but that somehow the political Pakistani doesn't sort of wither away. And by the political Pakistani, I'm trying to get to the point where there is a sense of othering in them, where they see India as the other or the Hindu as the other, which is why I was asking that specific question. But, thank you so much for taking that and, explaining that and sort of breaking that down in such a wonderful manner, Imtiaz. Thank you.
And Imtiaz, I'm quite impressed that you being Muslim, ex-Muslim, you did say 33 crores. You said 33 types of God. I'm quite impressed by your knowledge. It's amazing. Otherwise, even Hindus don't know. They also say, हमारे तो 33 crore वो है. Quite
33 koti.
impressed, Imtiaz. Imtiaz, do you speak Hindi?
I speak Urdu, which is just very close to Hindi. I watch Hindi movies, and I don't see much difference between Pakistani movies and Hindi movies. Hindi movies plots are better. They have more masala, 12 masale डालते हैं जिस तरह. See, similarly, when they created myth of Muhammad as a hero, they put 12 masala together. He was like yatim. He was very rich, but he lived like poor people. And he was unlettered, uneducated. He was just a shepherd, and from shepherd he became a powerful king. This is just like a Hindi movies masala.
इम्तियाज, आप मुझे एक बात बताओ, जैसे आप कहते हैं आप उर्दू बोलते हैं
जी.
इतनी नफरत, इतनी हेट्रेड, क्या माँ बाप को नहीं लगता, पेरेंट्स डोंट फील कि मैं एक बच्चे को क्या बनाने जा रही हूँ या जा रहा हूँ? मतलब सो मच ऑफ हेट्रेड एंड दिस वर्ड काफिर, क्या है ये? मतलब पेरेंट्स को डर नहीं लगता कि बच्चे की खुद की भी जान जा सकती है?
देखें, सारे रिलीजन जो अभी तक चल रहे हैं वो चाइल्डहुड इंडोक्ट्रिनेशन से ही चलते हैं. जो हिंदू घर में पैदा होगा 99% चांस है वो एज हिंदू ही मरेगा. इसी तरह क्रिश्चियंस का भी यही हाल है, इसी तरह मुसलमानों का भी यही हाल. अगर 2 जनरेशन्स तक इंडोक्ट्रिनेशन किसी कानून के तहत एनफोर्स कर दी जाए तो रिलीजन सारे खत्म हो जाएंगे. लेकिन अभी रिलीजन देखें, हिंदुइज्म में कितनी रिफॉर्मेशन आ चुकी है. इस्लाम मिडिल ईस्ट में जो है रिफॉर्म हो रहा है आहिस्ता आहिस्ता. तो ये सब हुआ है इंटरनेट की बदौलत हो रहा है. दूसरी साइड, द अदर साइड, जिस तरह पाकिस्तान में जब तक मैं रहता था, अदर साइड वाज नॉट अवेलेबल. और पाकिस्तान की फॉर्मेशन ही हिंदू हेट्रेड बेसिस पे है, तो वो हिंदू से नफरत नहीं करे तो और गरीब क्या करेगा.
अच्छा, एक और मुझे बहुत हिपोक्रेसी लगती है, ये मैंने अब हो गया, मेरे को पहले पता था आपको उर्दू आती है, मतलब जो सिमिलर है हिंदी से. मैं थोड़े बहुत आपको बोलती जवाब उसमें भी दे, क्योंकि मेरी ऑडियंस भी ऐसी है जो ज्यादा इंग्लिश नहीं समझती है. पर मुझे अब ये बताइए, जैसे ये लोग बोलते हैं इस्लाम के रूल्स बताते हैं, पर अमीरों के लिए रूल्स नहीं होते हैं. जैसे अब बॉलीवुड, यहाँ पे बॉलीवुड में एक मुस्लिम एक्ट्रेस जो होती है वो बिकिनी भी पहन सकती है, वो 3 बॉयफ्रेंड्स भी रख सकती है, वो अजीब से कपड़े भी पहन सकती है, सब कर सकती है. पर गरीब मुसलमान लड़की को हिजाब पहनना जरूरी है, बुर्का पहनना जरूरी. हमारे जर्नलिस्ट देख लीजिए जो मुसलमान है, वो अपने मतलब कोई भी कपड़े पहनते हैं, वो वेस्टर्न कपड़े भी पहनते हैं, इंडियन भी, सब कुछ पहनते हैं, साड़ी भी पहन लेते हैं, बिंदी लगानी होती है कभी कभी बिंदी भी लगा लेते हैं. उनको तब इस्लाम के रूल्स कहाँ जाते हैं? तब फतवा क्यों नहीं आता और गरीबों पे क्यों आता है?
देखें, मजहब गरीबों के लिए ही होता है. द मोर मिजरी इज देयर, मोर रिलीजन विल बी देयर. अमीर आदमी चाहे वो हिंदू हो, क्रिश्चियन हो, ज्यू हो, उसको रिलीजन की जरूरत नहीं है, सिर्फ गरीब आदमी को जरूरत है। तो वो गरीब आदमी को बताते रहते हैं रिलीजन, इंटेंसिटी गरीबों में ज्यादा ही होती है।
हाँ, बिकॉज मैंने देखा है कश्मीर में भी बहुत लड़कियां, मुस्लिम लड़कियां जो हिंदू से उनकी शादी हुई है, पर वहां पे उनका बॉयकॉट नहीं हुआ। पर अगर मिडिल क्लास की लड़की एक हिंदू इस तरफ, मतलब नॉन कश्मीरी मुसलमान से इस तरफ किसी और स्टेट के मुसलमान से शादी करती है, तो उसको यहाँ मार दिया जाता है, या उसको फतवा दिया जाता है, या उसको बॉयकॉट के। लाइक लुक एट आमिर खान की जो मूवी आई थी दंगल, उसमें एक दिस मुस्लिम गर्ल जायरा ना नेम वाज, उसको तो फतवा आ गया था, उसको तो हिजाब लेना पड़ा, उसको मूवी छोड़नी पड़ी। तो ये
हाँ, वो बड़ी अच्छी एक्ट्रेस है, उसकी
हम्म।
जो मूवी का जिक्र कर रहे हैं, बड़ी अच्छी मूवी थी। उसके बाद एकदम वो मुसलमान हो गई, तो मैंने कहा इसको क्या हुआ, तो वही धमकियों वगैरह की वजह से हुई होगी।
हाँ, क्योंकि वो एक मिडिल क्लास फैमिली से आती थी। और वहां पे रिच एंड फेमस जो है वो तो कुछ भी करते हैं, दे आर ड्रिंकिंग ऑल्सो, दे आर डूइंग एवरीथिंग एंड नोबडी इज पासिंग एनी फतवा अगेंस्ट देम।
बट मेरे ख्याल से ये थोड़ा और ज्यादा नुआंस्ड है। जो कम्युनिटीज या फैमिलीज आर इंटीग्रेटेड इन अ सोसाइटी, उनको लगता है कि सोशली बॉयकॉट अगर हम हो जाएंगे तो वी विल फील वेरी ऑस्ट्रेसाइज्ड एज पार्ट ऑफ द सोसाइटी। तो इसीलिए हमारा जरूरी ये है कि वी स्टे विद इन द गैम्बिट ऑफ रिलीजन, वी स्टे कनेक्टेड टू आवर ईथोस एंड आवर कल्चरल वैल्यू सिस्टम। तो मेरे ख्याल से ये भी हो सकता है जायरा वसीम के साथ में ऐसा कुछ हुआ होगा, where the family is very entrenched in the society, और उनको लगता है कि हमारा अगर ऑस्ट्रेसाइजेशन हो गया तो हमारे पास कहीं है नहीं जाने को, इसीलिए लेट्स बकल डाउन एंड लिसन टू व्हाट द मुल्लाज आर सेइंग।
जी जी, बड़ी सही बात की है आपने। दिस इज वेरी क्लोज टू रियलिटी।
और एक और चीज मैंने देखी है, मेरे जितने अमीर मुस्लिम फ्रेंड्स हैं उन, या बहुत ज्यादा पढ़े लिखे मुस्लिम फ्रेंड्स हैं, उनके दो बच्चे हैं। वो एक को डॉक्टर बनाते हैं, एक को लॉयर बनाते हैं, और उनको अब्रॉड भेजते हैं पढ़ने के लिए, तब वो मॉडर्न हो जाते हैं। पर जो उनका स्टाफ है, जैसे दिस फ्रेंड ऑफ माइन, शी गॉट अ कॉल फ्रॉम द गाय हु वाज हर हेल्पर, ही सेज कि बाजी लड़का हो गया है। तो वो कहती माशा अल्लाह, सातवां बच्चा, वो भी लड़का। पर खुद नहीं करते, पर दे इनकरेज द पुअर सेक्शन ऑफ मुस्लिम्स टू हैव मोर किड्स, बट दे डोंट हैव देमसेल्व्स।
जी जी, गरीब आदमी ज्यादा बच्चे इसलिए पैदा करता है अपनी पेंशन के लिए, कि 6 बच्चे पैदा किए हैं, उनमें से बाई लॉ ऑफ एवरेजेस एक जो है कम से कम वो कुछ ऊपर चढ़ जाएगा, कुछ बेहतर उसकी इनकम होगी, और वो बुढ़ापे में हमारा ख्याल रखेगा। तो इसी वजह से, चूंकि यूके में पेंशन सिस्टम है, आपको मरते दम तक फ्री मेडिकल है, मरते दम तक आपको पेंशन हर किसी को है। तो यहाँ वो 6 बच्चे इंश्योरेंस पैदा नहीं करते, वो एक दो ही बच्चे पैदा करते हैं। और इसीलिए उन बच्चों की क्वालिटी बेहतर होती है, कि उन पे ज्यादा कंसंट्रेट कर सकते हैं माँ बाप, उनको ज्यादा प्यार दे सकते हैं, ज्यादा वक्त दे सकते हैं।
चलिए, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, आपने समय निकाला, टाइम निकाला मेरे लिए। थैंक्स सो मच इम्तियाज। आई फर्स्ट टाइम आई आस्क्ड यू एंड इन 1 minute you said you replied back, of course, why not? Thank you so much, Imtiaz. So I will meet you
बहुत
when I come to
शुक्रिया।
London, and when, if you ever come to India, do come and stay with us, and we'd like to host you.
बहुत शुक्रिया। बहुत
Thank you.
शुक्रिया आदित साहब, और पायल, बहुत शुक्रिया।